In this video we're going to be making an IBar, and we're going to have the last molar in metal contact. Now this bridge has been designed in a different software, but there's a few changes I'd like to make to this bridge. Before we start, we're going to enter target, shift right click, P, shift D, shift D, shift D, left click, then align. Then this is the x-axis. We're going to rotate it on the x-axis 2 times, and we're going to swivel this on the z-axis like that. Now we're ready to make the bar almost, but we're going to change the geometry a little bit. So go to the IBar menu and start a name hybrid. This will lock this hybrid into place. Now we cannot start sculpting at this stage. We need the protection. So we're going to open up the menu here, the tubes and cones for the tooth preps. We're going to click on edit edge loops, and we're going to double click on an edge loop. Hopefully it'll select it. Okay, it didn't do it. It veered to the left hand side. Let's try this one, and bingo, perfect. We're going to make the tubes for this one. Again, same thing. I would assume maybe it's the outside line that we can select, and that's perfect. Lastly, the molar. And perfect. Alright, now we are ready to make the cones. Select them like this. Make cones that appear in green. Now you have to decide how thick you want this. So this is on the upper scale of 0.7. We may change the default. We know that metal we can make easily 0.4 millimeters when we're making copings for other procedures. So I'm going to keep that at 0.4, and we're going to accept that. This is going to make them orange now, and we're going to click on create mask protection. If you're unsure, read the tooltips. This is the safe place to start changing your hybrid because of the masking. Alright, we're going to click on smooth. Select it, smooth. I'm going to put this to 4, which makes it a little bit more aggressive. I'm going to put the strength up a little bit and the auto smoothing up a bit. And we're going to start smoothing. Now this does a few things. We get a better adaptation of the tissue. So here we're trying to get rid of the convexities, because these are not good and they're not cleansable. The other thing it does, it's going to give me a bit more space on the inside, so we can see the space, the cavity between the two, the interproximal surfaces. But sculpting them, I give myself way more space, and this is what we need to do sometimes. Now, I don't have to worry about the mesh geometry because this is protected. Now I'm going to go out of transparent mode, and I'll just quickly have a look at this one here. This does not give us much space to put our bar on the inside. This is why we have to sculpt, smooth it a little bit like this. Okay, so I'm just about ready to start. Okay, we're going to exit, and you are going to then go to the next menu, where we're going to shift right click to place our cursor, and we're going to start drawing. Actually, before we continue, I'll go back one step, and we're going to smooth a little bit more, because I want to go over this area here. So I'm smoothing it like a 45-degree angle, and over here as well, like 45, because this is where I'm going to place my line. This is quite important. Alright, so let's place the line. Click on draw, then select it, and we're going to then continue. So I think I've placed it on the other side. Okay. Alright. Okay, so here I want to shallow. I don't want to see this coming down. This is incorrect because we need to extrude it down, and we're going to struggle making a cutting tool. Keep it at a slight angle and then extrude. Over here in the aesthetic zone, I'm going to keep it low. To make things faster, I'm going to click on the extrude button so that I can left click. So follow the cross where you want to position it, and then just merely left click. It's a bit like aiming to shoot in a video game or something. Okay, over here I want a gentle curve as well. And now we're going to cut on the inside of it. And then we're going to move across at an angle like that. And then we're going to join the two together, click on Fuse. Next, we're going to click on Make Basic Design. Now, look at this and decide how you're going to extrude this. So we don't want to extrude it all the way here. I'm going to tilt it a little bit, maybe just a tiny little bit. I'm looking at the cusps of the bridge, maybe something like that, and click on Extrude Design. Then have a look around it, and this looks okay. Don't cut it like that because you're going to cut off the geometry. We can't do this. Bring it up higher and then cut it. Then you're going to bring this down. Okay, and we can angle this as well a bit if we have to. So I'm going to relax it a little bit. And this is looking okay. Notice how it jots out of the side of the crown. We're going to deal with this soon. I'm going to angle it a little bit like that. I don't want to go too thin over here. Okay, so from here we're going to remesh this into a cutter. Click on Remesh Design into a cutter. Great, that's looking quite good. We don't want it jotting out too far. Okay, here we've got enough space actually. So if I look at it from the top, all is well. We don't have enough space here. And over here it's jotting out a bit much. Select it. Go to Edit Cutter, and I'm going to select this extrusion, and with the G key and the mouse wheel, I'm going to put it inside of my coping there, inside of my cone. I can do the same thing on this one as well. Although sometimes you may want to think of metal support, you can move it up a little bit as well. Okay, and then this one over here, I'm going to move in quite a bit. Don't try and not move this section over here. Okay, so keep your proportional editing a little bit smaller, something like that. Over here, I'm going to move that down substantially, and perhaps something like that. We can check it by going to the object mode and then using the heat map. Now don't worry about this because we're going to remesh it. So whenever you bring something, the mesh inside of your cone, as you saw earlier, the cone is over here. If you bring it and you pull it into the cone, you will then have to refresh the cutter, and look what happens, because it's just going to join the cone back onto the cutter. So select it and refresh cutter. So this is looking good. I don't see any undercuts. There's no reason to go to the block out module with this one. This is looking exceptional. Go to the safety zone, add safety zone, and here you can definitely see how it comes up. We cannot move this down because it's going to affect the cut. So in fact, if you bring that down, it's going to slice off the top of it. We don't want that unless you want a hole in your metal. At this stage, I would say, no, we don't want a hole in the metal. Same applies on here. So this is going to fill up. Alright, so it's going to fill up over here as well. Don't worry about the inside of the mesh structure. We're going to click on Accept. This is going to clear some of this away, as you can see. The rest of it needs to be added. Alright, we can also, in cross-section, we can actually have a look, and this is the outcome. Now, if you look at this section is going to be added, and this section is going to be added. Okay, all the other sections are going to disappear. Let's witness this. Okay, so we're going to correct thickness of hybrid. Alright, so this is exactly what has happened now. The metal is quite thin. We've selected 0.4. You can always make it a little bit thicker in the beginning of your sectioning. Note now that we have this safety zone added. You will select it, you can select it, and you click on Smooth. Now this is fully protected. We don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to make this a bit finer, so say try 6. That's looking way better. And we'll just give that a little bit of a smooth down in the aesthetic zone and over here as well. Okay, there's not much we can do about the anatomy of it because we simply need space. Don't smooth it away all the way down because then you're going to just lose that thickness that we so need. Exit. Perfect. Now go to the separation. Now if you want to have a very small separation at the margin, then you're going to click on select it first. You have to select it first. In the previous one you didn't need to do it because we've done this so that you can section more IBars at the same time. Alright, let's set this to 0. Maybe 50 microns. We're going to separate that. So 50 microns is very small. Alright, so this is separated perfectly. And then we're going to select that. Now, chances is that may be too small. I mean, you can try and mill it like that and try and fit it at 50 microns. But if you need more space, we can give ourselves a more cement space. So I'm going to click Add Additional Space. Now this is going to give me a surface here like a cement space, and we can set this thickness. So I'll keep it at 0.2, which is doubled. So in effect we've given ourselves 50 microns over here where the margin is, and then we've given us 0.1. It's going to cut away from the hybrid shell. If you're unsure, read the tooltips below. The marginal distance allows me to make it creep up and down. Alright, now we're going to cut it. This is going to create a cavity inside the hybrid shell. So if I hide this, we can definitely see the cavity. Now, we don't need to add compensation unless you feel that there's something where it will not be able to mill. You can follow the videos, the official videos about the compensation, and that sort of completes my design.